Okay, Minorcan Navy, here we go over the Pinova Chemical Plant site in Brunswick, Georgia. This is my home port in Brunswick, and this site was the scene of a big fire. Now I'm going to include the links to the fire that we covered. Some of you guys have seen the little intro video that I did where we showed some of that, but I'm going to include all that in a little playlist so you guys can kind of come up to speed a little bit what's going on. Since we've been in Baltimore, there's been a lot of work that's going on here at the site. Now the site itself is about 276, maybe a little more than 276 acres, and a lot of demolition has already taken place. These guys are not fooling around. You're going to see some really skilled operators working on some heavy equipment. You guys remember Edward Scissorhands? Well, this is his cousin down in Georgia, and he's pretty proficient. Now this metal is not as thick as what we saw in the Francis Scott Key Bridge, but these operators are pretty doggone good. We spent a little time here with them, and we've got some modified video coming up where we kind of sped it up. But anybody who appreciates a skilled operator on a machine is going to enjoy watching these videos. The way these guys just take these pieces. This is an old storage tank. I'm not sure what was stored in it. Before anybody says what was in it, I don't know. But how they just dismantle it, and how he's able to take this metal and fold it up and load it, you guys are going to be impressed. There's still structures that have to come down on the site. From what I understand, they're going to completely clean the site. Pinova has stopped. This site is the former site of the Hercules company. And Hercules, when they operated, they had some issues. They were producing some chemicals at the time, which were legal at the time they were being produced. But some of that material got into some places, and it caused some problems. And there are a couple of Superfund sites as a direct result of the operation here in Brunswick. That said, Hercules is doing what they can to mitigate the problems, and they have done a lot of work on the sites to get them up to compliance with the environmental folks, and I think that they've gone above and beyond to get it cleaned up. Now, the fire, there was some runoff from the fire, and we did see some of that went down in the creek. Again, not sure what those chemicals were, but it didn't look like it was good stuff. Anytime you have anything burnt like that dumping, getting washed down into the waterway is probably not a good thing. The good news is that they've been working on that area over there where the water runs off, and they're just in the process of completing a project over there. We'll have more of that as well to show you guys, and you can kind of see some of that going on in the background there in the waterway of what they've been working on back there. Pretty big project. That project was actually underway before the fire occurred here, and that work's continuing. They're finishing up that project. You can see there's still quite a bit of the plant that still has to be processed, and I know how you guys really enjoy a project, and you like to see projects done, and I think you guys will enjoy watching this. Now, all this stuff is being processed and I guess headed off to recycling operation. But you can see there are quite a few very large pieces of the plant that are still intact, and they're going to have to come down, as well as a tower. There's a tower that's over there, a smokestack, if you will. That, from what we understand, is coming down as well. this is going to be a clean site. When all is said and done, this is going to be a cleaned up area with no remnants of the operation to really be seen. You can see there's another operator on another shear in the background working on another storage tank. There's quite a few that are still left to be broken up and come down. And we're going to try to show it to you. There's just a lot of activity going on out at the site, and it's happening quickly. And you can see there's so much piping and very large tubing material that is stacked up and ready to go to a processor. Over here on this side, it even looks like they're pulling up one of the old spur lines for rail service. That's coming up as well. They've got a grapple fitted onto that excavator. You can see it picking up those the old cross tie material out of that road bed. But I think this process will be pretty neat to watch. It'll be very interesting to me, and we're going to get into some of the history of the property going back. This plant was here in Brunswick, Georgia for more than 100 years. A long time, and it's a plant that as a child I was very familiar with because it was right at the end of the St.simons Causeway. I grew up on St.simons, so going to school every day. When you got to the end of the causeway, the plant was right there. It was right there in front of me, and it's kind of something that we grew up with here in the area. Of course, when it closed down, there were a lot of people who were lost their jobs in this process, and it was a little bit of a blow. I got to tell you, a little bit of an economic blow for the area, but people in times recover. I'm sure most of those folks that were in the operation have moved on to find other positions in local industry, or moved on to other processing areas. But I know that in the Minorcan Navy, there's got to be some folks out there who can appreciate the process, and then seeing all this, and I'm sure there are people out there who have been inside one of these industrial complexes and can really understand the system and how much material can be in one of these facilities. And to see it now being processed away, for me, is very interesting. Now you can tell in some of the areas where the fire was, that we saw a tank that was being cut up. It looked like it was dark, like it had probably been in the fire. And as you look through in some of that scrap stuff, you'll see stuff that looks like it was burnt when the fire occurred. Massive fire. This was kind of interesting here. A concrete truck coming in through the plant. I'm not sure where it was headed or where it was coming from, but it's certainly something that I'm interested in finding out, or if they're capping something, and that's a possibility. They could be using concrete to cap an area that needed to be sealed off, and they could be doing that with concrete. But when you back off and look at it, you can really appreciate the scope of the area and what's going on. Still quite a bit of work to take place. And you can see how close the plant was to the waterway. Right on the other side, that's Jekyll Island, and right on the other side, or St.simons Island, and right on the other side of that is the Atlantic Ocean. This is all our estuary, marsh area between the mainland and the barrier islands. So much of this is just crucial to the ocean life and the food cycle that other marine animals depend on. A lot of that comes out of these estuaries. So we kind of watch the red, white, and blue cement truck on its way through the plant. What's going to be interesting to see for me is what becomes of the property after cleanup's done, and if the testing, I'm sure there will be a lot of testing that goes on for the ground, if that checks out, what will become of the property. That's going to be interesting to follow along, especially as it's in the community here. What becomes of this? It is, like I said, right at the gateway of coming on to the barrier islands of St.simons Island as well as Sea Island, Georgia. Sea Island uses the St.simons Causeway for access as well. So both of those islands are right at the start of where this plant is. That's where the causeway joins U.S. Highway 17. And then not far away is Jekyll Island, just to the south. It's a big resort area. A lot of people are finding their way into this area of the country as a place for retirement and for second homes and investments. People love to come to the beach. And this is turning into a place that a lot of people have found and seem to enjoy. So the plan we have for the site is to drone when we can, weather permitting, and be able to kind of carry you guys through the process here of the plant. So this is really just kind of an introduction that we've been watching here, but we're going to see some equipment work. And we kind of sped this up so that you guys can appreciate some really good operators working on dismantling and getting some of this tank material ready to head to the processor. So what do you say we speed up the video here a little bit and watch the action? I think you guys are going to appreciate this. We see the water truck coming in, obviously working this area to keep the dust down. Now, the shear he's got that rake that he picks up, so he keeps his area nice and neat. He pulls his metal and stuff back, keeps the area raked up. If you guys saw him pick up the rake there, just to the right. But they're very efficient at dismantling and folding up this metal with this hydraulic shear. And he just rips it. I mean, just as you might a sheet of aluminum foil or tin foil. Once he gets it started and peeled up, he kind of looks like he uses the weight of the machine to hold it down, and he just pulls a sheet of it back, rips it right off. It seems like he cuts it where he has to and gets it started, and then just kind of pulls it, tears it right into. And from where we were, now what I do want to start setting up some live streams where I can bring you guys in on this and shoot some lives here where we can kind of have a little question and answer period going on. But this was a noisy operation. This big chunks of metal hitting the ground, and then you see how he folds that up. He's going to take that over and put it right in the truck. He's going to pack it in there a little bit, and he's got some pieces that he's worked on over here in his other trailer, and now he's going to move them over and get them ready to be transported out of there. Doesn't that excavator almost look like looks like a dinosaur? And that is a skilled operator. It's almost as if he's folding a letter. And see, there's another operation, another tank coming down over there as well. I didn't know where to go. There was so much going on. But the Komatsu here, with this shear on it, was absolutely fascinating to watch. The batteries don't last forever, guys, so we have to call it a day at some point. So we're going to take a little slow flight here back over across some of the remaining structures that are out here at the facility. You know, all this is supposed to come down. And again, I know how you guys like to get involved in a project. So we're going to bring some of this to you guys, so you guys can enjoy this operation as it unfolds. Well, hey, thanks for watching again. Hey, let us know what you think about it. Leave us some comments. I know it's a little different, but leave us some comments. Let us know. Hit the thumbs up if you like it. And most of all, hey, I want you guys to be safe out there.